Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the LC Transfer Room. I am Dan, this is Willem, and Carter. You're joining us for the match reaction. Liverpool 4, Brentford 1, first win away from home. Couldn't be happier beating Brentford when he needed to. Great result. Mo Salah is back. Loads of goals, couple of mega assists. We'll come up to those at the end of the injuries. Fingers crossed they don't last us too long. But we're just going to go over everything that's happened. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can put a like on the stream, if you are watching live, if you're watching later on, it's really appreciated. Get your comments in for us, and we'll engage as much as we can for you. We want your thoughts and feelings. And just boys, I'll go straight into it. Willem, your thoughts, please, on that fantastic win.
Yeah, I'm absolutely. I'm chuffed with the win. To be fair, because it's normally a game where we struggle in general. Even when we play them at home, they're not a fun team to play against. And yeah, I thought apart from maybe I wouldn't even say it was shaky for the first 5 or 10 minutes, but Brentford were definitely giving it a bit more of a goal. But after that, we just solidified ourselves. Really, we were the much better side.
No, 100%. Carter, your opinions, please, mate. What did you make of the game? Are you happy with the way it went?
Yeah, I was happy with how it went. I thought first sort of 10 minutes, I was a bit worried when they were having sort of a few chances come their way. They were counter-attacking well. But I do think they really missed like Mbeumo and that's those type of players. Like, because although Morpie did quite well for sort of maybe first 5 or 10, after that, just Konate just sort of swallowed him up and he just had no joy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they did really miss some of those really key players. They kind of made Brentford the team that have been very difficult to beat this season. They're a bit of a different animal, I think it's fair to say, for Brentford. They're not a bad team. However, unfortunately, they are having a troubled season as to where they are in the league. They are conceding a lot of goals. They've only had 2 clean sheets this season, so not great for a club who's normally quite solid at the back. Got some good goals in them, and today they showed some of the frailties, and we were able to capitalise, which was really, really important to go 5 points clear at the top of the table. I said at the top of the stream there, this really had the it had the potential to be in a proper banana skin. 12:30. We've been there. We spoke about that before and said, is this where something we don't do well with? But this season, we seem to have turned it right round. We've not lost at all season at 12:30 and had some really good wins out of it. And this being one of those. Boys, we'll go over the first half. I think you're totally right. I think the first 10, 15 minutes we had to weather a storm. Brentford were good, strong, were getting in behind us. They were playing probably to what they believe was our weakness, which was our right-hand side. They were doubling up on Bradley on the break, playing a ball over the top from the midfield to try and get in behind. And I just thought how fantastic having Konate and Conor Bradley at the back there was important to us. We were defensively very, very good. Going from there, we moved into the midfield, and I think we started to take more control of the game. We saw some injuries, which we're going to go over towards later on, and I was impressed with the players who came on as substitutes. I thought they made a massive difference, one of them being Mohamed Salah, of course. But prior to that, the goal came, I believe the goal that came with Nunez who scored his goal, I think that came from a little bit of Brentford being almost too risky. What did you make of that? Did you see that when they brought their whole team up for a free kick that's just gone into only just gone into our half, they left so much space in behind? What was your thinking about that? Do you think Brentford gifted us that first one? Do you think that was their own fault? Yeah, whoever wants it, throw it out there.
Yeah, I'll have a. So I think it was more. I think it was a lapse of judgment from Brentford's side in that moment, because normally from the way we play, especially under Klopp, we actually always prefer to play a side who goes far up the pitch and tries and plays football. And if you really kind of look at the start of the game, how Brentford was setting up, it was still sitting back and going on the counter. And for that one foul, probably with them in mind, with them having the thought in mind of set pieces being their strength this game, which, to be fair, it wasn't too much of a threat from them. I think they've just had a lapse in judgment through everyone up, and then just didn't think about the fact that obviously we are a great counter-attacking team as well. And it's just, yeah, it just caught them off guard.
Yeah, Carter, what did you make of the goal? Do you think that Brentford basically gifted us one there? I'm of the opinion that they did. I thought that was their own fault to allow all of their team to go up when we have the ability of Diogo Jota and the speed of Darwin Núñez to come and get a goal. I thought that was really foolhardy of them.
I think it's a bit risk and reward, because obviously there's been times where we've gone to them and in their stadium and they've had great success against us with set pieces, and I think they probably look at it and go, it was a sort of a hit and hope ball that's gone. It was a good header gone off the side of Jota's head to Darwin Núñez's foot. Like, a lot of the time, the ball's not going to be as favourable for Jota as it was. Like, that was just a punt up the pitch. I think it's like us. Sometimes we played a high line. Sometimes it's going to come back and bite you. But you've seen with the sort of success they've had against us in the past, at 0-0, if they go 1-0 up, it's worth the risk for them. Because if it's 1-0 to them, I think we might have struggled. But as the game opened up, we really suited. So I think for a team like Brentford, it's risk and reward, isn't it? And I think for them just today, it just didn't pay off.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're totally right. I mean, it's a game that they're probably not expected to get anything out of, but on previous history, this is a game which there was points on the table for Brentford, in my opinion. I felt that, us coming away from home, a couple of injuries, which we've added a few more, unfortunately, to that list. It was there for them, and I'm pleased that they came out there to play their style of football, which assisted us, which helped us to be able to take full advantage of some of the frailties that they had this season. They are a team of giants, aren't they? And it became quite a scrappy game in places, to be totally honest with you. The number of fouls was ridiculous, to be totally honest. I've never seen a game where the game was stopped so many times. 4 free kicks, especially involving Liverpool. I think the referee did quite well, to be fair to Michael Oliver, in ensuring that there wasn't too many silly cards were handed out. I think a lot of the fouls were very basic, low-level bits and pieces. And sometimes we had to do all those things to get them done. Moving on to the second half, Mo Salah comes in for the injured Jota to very, very close to the end of the first half. Great to see him back. I didn't know. I know how good he is. I know how the quality of Mo Salah is. And I question as to whether or not how quickly is he going to be able to get into the speed of this game against a team full of groks and giants that Brentford have. Are they going to rough him up? Are they going to do that one? And he answered the question, comes straight in, assist and a goal. McAllister's second goal of the season for is fantastic. Really, really pleased with that situation. What did you make of that second goal? The thing that was most important to me, and something I've thrown at maybe a little bit of time of criticism, is to Gravenberch, is that he looks lovely on the ball, but when there's got to do some of the dirty work, he can be a little bit timid. Maybe it's the right word to use. I don't think he was for this. He was brilliant. He wins the ball high up in the pitch, plays the ball into Salah into McAllister, and a proper striker's finish. I was really pleased to see McAllister in that advanced position that I think many people have been crying out for, probably where Szoboszlai would be. Carter, what did you make of the second goal? What impressed you the most about that situation, and how happy are you to see Salah back in the team, and how important is he going to be?
I thought, I was really impressed with that goal. I thought it was quite nice that sort of all 3 midfielders, I think it was Endo to Gravenberch to Salah. I thought it was quite nice to see them all link up. I thought, I get what you mean with Gravenberch. I do think he's a bit of a, he's going to be a bit of a 50-50 if he becomes great or if he just sort of levels out and isn't a Liverpool player. But I thought today he was terrific. He's really good at beating the first man. And I thought, I just thought it was a great ball from Salah. The touch from McAllister. It was almost not like the Bergkamp one, but it's that kind of thing where the touch absolutely just kills the Brentford defender. And I was just like, he's just a very good sort of midfielder, sort of for all 3 phases. And I think it was quite interesting to sort of see him in his, because Klopp said to him he's a right-sided 8 and Gravenberch is a left-sided 8, and this is the first time that we've seen those two in that partnership with Endo behind him properly. And I actually thought it kind of worked out quite well. So that goal was testament to how that midfield can maybe come together and work for like the next few games.
No, 100%. And I think it's really important. I saw Gravenberch has sort of fallen down a little bit out of the hierarchy of our midfielders. I think at one point when he came in after Jones got injured, when Jones was sent off, against Spurs earlier on in the season. Gravenberch sort of grabbed that opportunity, and we thought, is Jones going to get back in the team here? And he did, of course, which is fantastic. Willem, your opinions on that goal there and the importance of Gravenberch's performance today. I think we needed to see something from him. This was a big opportunity now. Is Jones going to be injured temporarily? Is going to be a longer term issue? We're not sure. How important was it for him to kind of prove something today?
Well, it was extremely important because I think that there's been some of us within the fan base who have had a bit of a doubt, more not about his technical ability and what he can do with a ball, if not more how he would fit our style of play physically and being able to press the ball and really chase the ball down. And I think today it kind of really highlighted it, where we didn't see much of his flashiness and we didn't see much of him trying really to take a man on. And that has been something that's probably been a bit more frustrating in the previous couple of games where he's come on. And I think today he just really focused on getting the physical part of his game right and then letting the rest just come to him. And I think you could see today it was a difference maker in him. He was a real asset today in the game. So yeah, I think I'm glad to see it. I think in general as well, and it's always good for us with the midfield in general now that we have the numbers to hope you're doing well as well, Jay Muse, by the way. But also, like, it's good for us again to have these numbers in midfield as well, that we can rotate based on who's in better form. So just for Curtis Jones being injured now doesn't mean necessarily that there's going to be a gaping hole left behind because there's someone else to pick up the pieces. So yeah, but in general, very chuffed how with his performance today and how he just kind of really came on.
No, and absolutely. I was so pleased because you saw it, and he comes in and he's come under some quite correct criticism at times in his play, and some of the way that he started really well, is a little bit faded. A couple of times he looked like he was just not quite willing to get involved as much in a game, which with the physicality side of it, and you don't get much more physical than Brentford, who today played like Tony Pulis' Stoke. There was plenty of quite rough physical play, which was what we expected. They're a big team full of big lads, and I thought our players did really, really well to come up against that physicality. We have received some injuries, which we'll go over. I was trying to hold it off, but I think there's a lot of comments in here. It's worth us bringing it up. They could be pivotal for us, unfortunately. Early on, Jones's injury potentially is the less serious of the two. He seems to be able to get up off his own steam. Looked a sore one, could be a sprain, could be a calf injury, could just be a knock. We're not sure yet, and we'll obviously have to wait on the information to come back from that one. He will be a big miss. The central midfield positions is somewhere which we are benefiting from the fact that we have so many players who are capable of playing in those positions, and we're lucky in that way. So in the past, that would have been a lot bigger of an issue than it is at the moment. The next issue being is the more serious one that concerned me was Diogo Jota, and when Christian Norgard looked like he chinned him at first, to be honest, on the replay, I thought he got a punch in the jaw, and I thought that was what the issue was. Then I saw the fact that his full body weight landed on his knee. That does concern me. Diogo Jota has been, since returning from injury on Boxing Day against Burnley, absolutely fantastic. He's carried us in this period of time on his shoulders along with the other players, but he was so pivotal in the goals he scored. I really hope this was more impact than a longer term issue, and we see him again soon. We are going to need him. We have got attackers, but not as in form as Diogo Jota. Carter, I'll go to yourself. Your opinion on how much of a problem it's going to be missing these lads? Are we in a real problem missing these, or do you think we have enough cover?
I think with Jones, I think that's more of a loss, because I think he's sort of the most in all sort of his phases, pressing, attacking, defending. I think he's really, really good, and I think other players aren't as sort of complete and offer everything that he does. Whereas I think with Jota now, with Salah kind of tagging in, it's almost like we're just tagging in one guy who's scoring all the goals and getting loads of assists for Mo Salah, who's of the Premier League. He's our best goal scorer. He's like our best assister. So I think it's a shame because it would have been nice to maybe see Salah, Núñez, Jota, but I think it might not be if he's out for a few weeks, if it's like 6 or 7 weeks, and as long as he's maybe back for that last stretch, and maybe when the Europa League gets a bit more competitive, I don't think it'll be the end of the world to miss Jota. But I think Salah, if we'd have not had Salah, I would have been panicking if we'd have lost Jota, because he's probably the only consistent goal threat at the moment. Although obviously Núñez with unbelievable goal, Jota's sort of consistent. Whereas now at least we've got Salah, who is now just going to pick up from where Jota left off and be like goal or assist every game. And so I think we should be fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to remain on the positive side of the situation and look at it and go, if any time for him to get injured, today was the day, if that makes sense. Today was the day that we had the cover to return, and Mo Salah appears to have come straight back in. He's done 45, 15 more minutes than I think the club wanted him to play. I believe he probably would have been the 60th minute change, to be totally honest with you. That's just a theory, just based on what is available to us. Willem, your opinion on these issues, how much of a miss is this going to be? Is it something that is going to massively affect us, or do you think we have the numbers and we have the quality to be able to hopefully mitigate that situation, especially in these next busy games between now and the Man City game?
I'm kind of also on the agreement with Carter that I do think what Jones provides us in midfield is something that we are probably depending on how long he's out for, obviously, as well. But in the long run, that's probably something that we're going to miss in our style of play the longest. But then again, it's also the Jota injury, for example, looks way more severe in my opinion. At least it doesn't look good. And for all we know, if he's landed properly on his knee and he's done something to his ACL, we could be out for months. And the thing that kind of worries me more with Jota is that if it's the case of him being out for so long, if you remember with last season, also where he had these big gaps, I think it was from the City game in October and November where he was out till, and then he was out till March or April. And Jota is very much a confidence player as well. And it took him a while after that injury again to kind of get up to speed. And that's more, I think, if it turns out to be another long-term injury for Jota, that's more where I think in the long term we will get hurt more, because I don't see us necessarily strengthening our attacking depth that much over the summer. Or at least for the intention to. If everyone just stays and no one leaves, I don't see why. So I think it's more in the sense of like, if it's for the short term, we're going to miss Jones more. If it's really for the long term, which I'm afraid with Jota it might be, it'd be a bigger miss in the long term. I don't know if we've lost Dan there or if he's back. No, he's back.
No, 100%. I agree with you. We're going to have to wait and see. I feel that we have the numbers. I feel now's the opportunity for one player who did take his opportunity today, which was Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo has found it difficult this season to be able to step into this Liverpool team as well as he did last season. He seems to have found it difficult into finding his position, which, giving him his dues, he started out in midfield for us at the start of the season. Luis Diaz is on that left wing. That's a position he would prefer to play. Luis Diaz went through a phase of not doing very well. Obviously, he had his issues, of course, with his parents, which were resolved. But after that, Diaz went through a situation where he wasn't quite getting there. And just as you thought, could the question be started to be getting asked, Diaz has got back amongst the goals and munched back through the assists. So again, that's not available to him. So I think we'll see a lot more Gakpo. I think we'll see more Gakpo coming into the team. Luton, we should be okay without Jones and Jota, in my opinion. That's okay. The Chelsea final, I'd like to have seen both of those players in that game. I won't lie to you. That worries me a little bit, but I still feel that we should have the quality and the firepower to be able to win that game within 90 minutes against Chelsea, all being well. So that's the negative sides. We'll get that out of the way. Let's talk about the positives, which is, again, what we're looking at now is we are top of the table. We're 5 points clear. We've beaten Brentford first time in the Premier League away from home, 4-1. The goals keep coming. We conceded one today. A special shout out, actually, to somebody who I have been critical of, and I believe rightfully so, in Quavim Kelleher. I thought he was absolutely fantastic today. When he was called upon, he did brilliantly. And He pulled off 2 fantastic saves. Very, very unlucky not to get a clean sheet today. That was credit to him, a credit to our defence as well, which I'm seeing the comments in there talking about how good Konate was. Konate was fantastic. Van Dijk was brilliant as well, to be totally honest with you. But we expect that from him. Konate's performance was really important because last season he had an absolute nightmare here. He fell apart. It was a really poor performance from him last season. I'm glad he's been able to put that behind him. Lads, your opinion on Quiveen Kelleher? He will be our goalkeeper, of course, for the final. We already knew this, but he's going to be our goalkeeper for Luton, which we should be okay. You'd hope to think that that won't be a problem. Could be Nottingham Forest. We don't know the extent yet of the injury to Alisson. Your opinions on Kelleher today? What were your opinions? I thought he was fantastic, both going in defence, of course, as a goalkeeper, but he was instrumental as well in our third goal as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was he was really good today, to be fair to him, and like you've said as well, he's gotten some criticism from some of us fans in these past couple of games that he has had to stand in, but I thought today he was excellent. And as well, obviously with the third goal, got a bit lucky that the Brentford defence didn't calculate where the ball exactly was going to go after the bounce off from the head, but you got to take it in that moment. And he was, even with the goal, he made a great save before it. He can't really do anything from the rebound out of it. So he did everything that we would have asked of him. So yeah, solid.
Fantastic. And Carter, your opinions? Are you comfortable with Kelleher going up to and potentially including the Manchester City game?
I'm definitely I'm more confident now, especially now he's getting a bit of a run in the team, because I think that's always been his issue. And for a lot of players, just getting dropped in and out of the team is never easy. So I think it's good that he's got to build up a bit of confidence. But I just feel like a bit sorry for Kelleher, because it is just a thing of he just doesn't play enough. Like, you look at some goalkeepers like Flecken. Is he better than Flecken? Probably. And it's just, if he could go somewhere and build up and play some football, it would probably just be better for him. Like, it's good that he's winning these cups and stuff, but I almost feel like we're preventing him from like properly kicking on and becoming the best goalkeeper he can. Because even for us, I think we'll get to the point where if Alisson left in 5 years' time and Kelleher was there, I'd go, no, I want to sign the best in class. Because that's what we've seen now. It's like going from a Ferrari to like maybe a really nice Ford or something. Like, it's still very good and reliable, but Brentford could do with having like a nice Ford. Like, he could go and be a good player for another team. Like Leno at Fulham. That type of thing. He could go and be a really good player and get his plaudits, but he's never going to get that at Liverpool.
So Flacken's like a Renault, is he? Something like that,
yeah,
like a 2064 plate Renault. Okay, fair enough. That's fair. I like that. Yeah, no, to be honest with you, if you'd asked me at the start of this season, Brentford was a team I actually thought that Quiveen Kelleher would have been playing for. He made sense to go to that team once he lost David Raya. I'm surprised that other teams weren't knocking on our door, putting offers in of 15, 20 million pounds for Quiveen Kelleher, who's proven to be a fantastic goalkeeper. He has had moments which, as a second choice, they will, because as you've rightfully said, you don't get the opportunities to build up the relationship with your centre backs. You don't get to build that match confidence, which is really important to be able to go and do. And he's had some poor games for us this season, and they haven't cost us, and that's okay. That's all right. But now we're in the crunch matches now. Every game is a must win for me. Every game is a final as it goes so far. We have to win every game, and we can't build a lack of. We can't build doubt. We need confidence when it comes to our backline. We need our defenders to be confident that the person stuck behind them is going to be able to make the right decisions, or come when he needs to come, is going to claim that ball when we want to, or he's going to happily leave it to allow our defenders to deal with that situation. So yeah, I was really pleased. This was an opportunity for him where he could have been tested if they tested us more with big set pieces, corners, of throw-ins. We didn't see any of those from Jensen. He's normally capable of throwing some Rory Delap style balls in, which you could have asked the questions of Kelleher, because he's come across a few times as not being the most confident or kind of openly forward goalkeepers, but his performance was fantastic today, and I just wanted to put that in there. Going into the second half, we've talked about that third goal. Salah absolutely influential and has proven, it's amazing to say we've not missed him, but today it showed that we do miss him. That when the wheel has the potential to fall off the bus for us, like it could have done with the injuries, if this had happened 2 games ago, this could have been disaster settings of losing, Diogo Jota and Jones. But Salah comes in, assist, goal, influential throughout the match, and I just thought it was how good it was to see him back in our team, and I think it's a credit to him in his professionalism of being able to come from that injury, the problems that he saw at AFCON, the amount of criticism that he's faced from his national team and from other professionals, for God's sakes, of having to return to get that rehabilitation. He's gone about his rehabilitation, and like an Ivan Drago sort of, confirmation, he's been putting himself back together, and here he is. It's like he's never been away. It's like he's never had an injury, and he's just so influential. Carter, Mo Salah, I mean, can we possibly let him go next season? And if so, how much?
I think what you said are sort of we haven't necessarily missed him, but we've missed him. Like, I think as a team now, we're a lot less reliant on like 1 or 2 players. I think we've got a lot more people now because of sort of the change in the midfield that can win you games. Like, I think they said Jones had 5 and 9 for the red card or the injury. McAllister's picking up goals. Soboslai's got goals. Endo seemed to get a few goals for Stuttgart. He's getting goals for us. So I think it would have to be a lot of money. And I think the difficulty is there's probably not someone who you look at and say we can just take this perfect ready-made right winger. If Bukayo Saka was playing for West Ham, I'd say maybe you consider it, because you could go and get the top next right winger. But who else? Who can we look to get to play right wing? Like Neto, who can't stay fit. Elise, who can't stay fit. Like, I just think we stick with Salah, because I think all of us probably. Wait, what? Sorry,
Rafael.
He plays left wing.
I know, but he's shown the ability, hasn't he? I think he's the closest. In my opinion, I think if anyone in the world and the money that we would get, I think Rafael is the closest, in my opinion, to be able to replicate what Mo Salah could do. But
I think he'd be really good, but I do think it's like, how do you balance the team? I'd want more of a right winger. But I think probably for all of us today, though, you see Jota go down and you're not happy, but you're like, oh, Mo Salah's going to come on and play.
Yeah.
You're like, we're going to get 6. I was thinking, we might get 30 minutes. It's like, get 60 minutes of Salah. And then it's just assist, goal. It's just really good play. And I think it'll be exciting to see how he sort of does with McAllister and Bradley for the next few games. Sort of maybe less people running off. Well, obviously Bradley may be more overlapping than Trent has recently, so you might see Salah a bit closer to goal, which could be quite interesting.
Yeah, 100%. And Willem, Mo Salah for you, just talk to me. Tell me about him. What you make of him?
Irreplaceable. Yeah. That's what it comes down to for me. I'm one of the for me at least, it feels like I'm one of the very few people but I'm still at the point where I won't even hesitate an offer for Mohamed Salah. Like, I don't care. You can throw 250 million pounds at me. We can't replace him. We can't. No, genuinely, I don't. No, I'm not. I'm fine with it, because it's the same. Like, okay, you're going to then base off who you're going to get in on potential, and counting in the fitness issues, as Carter has rightfully said as well, of the couple of targets that you look in, who realistically do you get? Because even with the Leao, right, saying, okay, Rafa Leao, he's an unbelievable player, yes, but the problem is he plays left winger. You're not gonna make Messi play left winger when he's been a right winger or a striker the entire time. Stuff like that. It's like, it's playing players out of positions that don't necessarily play to their strength. And like, I've got on the Sky Sports Mountain mic joke a couple of times, and I'm not gonna lie, it's because the mic stand's broken. I haven't bought a new one, to be fair.
Do you know what? I felt like I was going to start doing it, man. I was going to put a headset on. It was great. It's like I'm doing like a match side commentary, something like Chris Kamara. You're kind of trend. I'm going to do it from now on.
Yeah, no. I mean, to be fair, it is nice, because after that you just put it down and then you don't worry about it, and then you don't have to worry about hitting the mic after or whatever it is. But yeah, coming back to it anyway, that for me, still irreplaceable. I would rather take the risk of us keeping him another 2-3 years and maybe having him on one of his last years where he is kind of slowing down, just purely because I think the risk of selling him and then not replacing him in a sense of we can't kind of get back for him what we can. We might get the money for it now, but it might cost us a Champions League qualification in the season after. It might cost us, other domestic financial gains that we can get, and then we just kind of end up putting ourselves back into a worse position than we are in now. So in that sense, also, I just don't see the logic of even entertaining the idea of selling Salah right now.
This actually feels a lot more comfortable talking about this, to be honest. So I'm going to do it as well. I think you're right. I think there's he is irreplaceable, and of course, rightfully said in the chat here, we can't speculate because we know that things are going to change. Hopefully, some things for the better, some things we don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked, and one of them needs to be: is Mo Salah going to be there? But for me, I'd keep Mo Salah forever. He makes all the difference. He has been the difference from minute one since he joined us. He's been incredible. Talking about somebody else who has been incredible, and again, it sounds like I'm his biggest fan, and I probably am, to be honest with you. And welcome to the Connor Bradley Show. I'm your lead. Connor Bradley, wow. I mean, again, today there was no assist. Again, there wasn't a goal, but the performances he's put in, he's a looks like a stick thin lad, and he's up against some really big lads like Ivan Toney, and he was capable of keeping him quiet pretty much the entire match. Obviously, coming back after what's happened with his father and stuff like that, and deputising for one of the best players, to have played in the club, and probably the best right back to have played. I thought he was absolutely outstanding, especially in that second half when he had the license just to roam across the midfield, and we saw him at one point setting up into that sort of central attacking midfield position. Lads, Connor Bradley, is there ever going to be a question where we're going to go, he should start right back at his position over Trent, and Trent needs some potentially now look to move into the midfield? Carter, take it with you.
I think it's a difficult question. Like I'll admit, I can't remember who else was on the stream, but I think it was after the Bournemouth game. I had said to Paul, I was like, oh yeah, it was. I was like, if a good offer came in for Bradley for pure profit, I would have considered it. But I think now, looking at how he sort of played in central areas, I think you'd have to offer me a lot more money than that. I think you'd have to offer me like upwards of like 50 or something. But I think, he's looked really good. And I think he's a lot more in the sort of normal right back, which isn't a bad thing. It's a normal right. There's a reason why most right backs play like that or try and play like that. Good on the ball, athletic, overlap. But I think the only thing is that Trent at right back offers you offensive things that no other fullback, or maybe there's some guy in like the 60s or something, but no other fullback I've ever seen can offer you. Like the amount of big games against like Arsenals and Cities and those type of games where Connor Bradley can't play a 65-yard pass with no backlift or spin onto the foot of the attacker. So I think it's a very good problem to have going forward. I don't think it's a bad thing to have some pressure on Trent, especially someone who might not be being like if we signed like, let's just say Dumfries might be like, I want to play, like he'll be knocking, whereas Connor Bradley will probably be more willing to be like, oh well, I'm playing the cup games and I'm getting 20 minutes at the end of games. I think it going forwards, I think it will put a nice little bit of pressure on Trent. So I don't think he'll start, but I don't think it's an issue.
Absolutely. I think pressure's a good thing to have for every position. I think every player, we have benefited at left back from never needing pressure on Andy Robertson, because Andy Robertson's not a player who seems to need to be put under pressure to deliver. I think Trent isn't, but I think with Trent, when you are that good, when you have such incredible ability, and when you can play pretty much anywhere on the pitch, you probably wouldn't choose playing at right back when you're 25 years of age. And I think perhaps it could be an occasion now where maybe he doesn't want to play there anymore. Maybe he does want to go into midfield, perhaps. We don't know. He's never come out and said it, and he probably wouldn't do because he's too much of a professional. I just think what we're seeing now is we're seeing the seeds that have grown into the flowers of the work that's been put in behind the scenes. And we're looking at players who've joined Liverpool, who have come through the Liverpool ranks as children, literally children and are now playing in the first team. And what a great example this sets to players who we are looking in the future to sign, young lads who we come to at the age of 15 and 16. Trainee only being one that we brought in from Leicester very recently. And you can say to them, first team's there for you, you know. Like we're not just buying you to develop you and then sell you on. Look who's playing. McConnell's playing. Curtis Jones is playing. Connor Bradley's playing. Jarell Kwanzaa is playing. If you are good enough and you prove you're good enough, you'll be in this team. That is a brilliant one. William, your opinions on there with Connor Bradley? Are you comfortable now that this gives us plenty of opportunity to allow Trent to fully recover and we don't need to rush him back? Because I thought we rushed him back for the right reason.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said on the rushing back. I do think we probably did rush him back a little bit too much. I've gotten over these past few weeks now. I have, and more because Bradley has presented himself as an option that we can probably utilize as a right back, and not in the sense of like as in. And don't get me wrong, I love Joe Gomez. But Joe Gomez can't really go like offer up front what Bradley and Trent can offer in that sense. And I think as well, if you just for me personally, if you look at Trent at right back sometimes, his body language just gives off a message of, I'm not really interested in the defensive side of this part. And I actually think now is the time to slowly start phasing Trent out of the right back situation and really rotating Bradley and Gomez over there on that side. I think now's the moment. I think it gives us another option in midfield. We can always have the flexibility with Trent. We can always move him back to right back in case that we want to, in case we want to make want to go a different way or want to go more attacking. But I think it's actually the moment to start playing Trent at right back and move him into midfield and give Bradley the reins of right back, which again is also kind of extreme to say after 5 games. But yeah, it is actually kind of to the point where I'm getting to now. And also because it's the things in game that normally happen. Our right-hand side is normally a target for every team that plays us. And you can just see in these past couple of games where Bradley's played, it's been a target for 10 minutes, and after not being able to get through, it's not a target anymore. And you can't. Unfortunately, that's not always the case with Trent. So I'm really happy with Bradley and how he's come through and how he's really kind of solidified himself into the first team now, because I don't want him gone.
No, 100%. It's almost like you want more from him, in my opinion. I look forward to seeing Connor Bradley, and I look forward to seeing Jarell Kwanzaa, to be totally honest with you. I'm so impressed with what they've done. Just a quick question before we go on to our standout 3, just to wrap things up. We were all very pleased with the result, and in the end, it became quite not a walk in the park, but it became quite routine for us, something which I don't think many of us were expecting. I'm very pleased that it was. Got it out of the way, pressures off the weekend, big game midweek. Just a quick question, just as a little bit of fun that someone's put in the chat. Let me just find it. But I'll ask it until I find it. We were asked, who is untouchable, Connor Bradley or Jarell Kwanzaa? Carter, your opinion?
I'd say that Bradley is probably more untouchable. Like I think he's a lot more of a totally well-rounded player. Like I think it might have been a stream I said before, but I think we're speaking about Norwich, and I think Bradley might score. And Bradley's now showing, like today, he had the sort of opportunity with the outside of his foot. I think that Bradley reminds me a lot of like Robertson, but maybe he can come into midfield a bit more. And I don't know if you guys would agree, if one of them was shooting, I'd much rather it be Connor Bradley. Like I think he's a lot, maybe not as crossing, but I think he's shown he's got maybe the ability to get goals. And I think Kwanzaa is good, but I think if you offered me to sign like another young centre half, I probably would, because I think he's good. But do we think he's going to be as good as sort of the centre halves we've had? Because it's not easy. Like when you look around the league, for ages you would say we've had 4 of the 10 best centre halves, and that's not easy. And is he gonna fall into that? I don't know. Like I remember the pass against Fulham where it looked good, but actually the Fulham player made a meal of it. It wasn't that good a pass, like the sort of long ball. So I don't know. I definitely say I'm more Bradley than Kwanzaa.
Fair play. Willem, your opinion, Kwanzaa or Bradley? The offer comes in. Who are you selling first?
Can I just say it's a horrible question, first of all, because I'm not liking it or having to pick between the two at all. But I agree with Carter, to be fair. I think Bradley is more untouchable right now at this moment. I do think again, with Kwanzaa, there are things obviously that can improve in his game, but then again, he's only so he probably is going to improve him over these next couple of years. But just more, it's one of them where it's like I'm thinking about, because Kwanzaa's also like, I think as well, because Bradley's coming in this past month, we kind of forgotten that Kwanzaa also has just kind of come in midway through the season without any of us expecting him to come in, and he just picked up the job of if he'd been doing it already for 5 years. So I know I don't want to like discredit what Kwanzaa did, but I think more just as in as well with the depth in the position and what each can offer in the position, I would still have to probably agree and say that Bradley is more untouchable right now.
I also hate the question completely, and to be honest with you, I'd feel physically sick at the idea of doing either of them. To be totally honest with you, I look at how good Jarell Kwanzaa has been. I thought he was absolutely fantastic in every opportunity he's been given. To be honest with you, to play centre back, there's no hiding. You can't hide in that position. You need to make the right decisions each time. And when I've seen him come into us, at no point have I sat down and went, could be weak. That could be a weak opportunity. You know, we saw it last week. Canate got the red card. Come up against Burnley, you know that Vincent Kompany and the Burnley team would have said, "There's your weakness." That right hand side, the right hand side would be the weakness. Where we've got a young right-sided centre back, and we've also got a right back who probably doesn't fancy playing there in Trent, who's half fit. And instead, he went out there. He did what he needed to do. I thought he's had some fantastic games. He's been able to run with the ball, play forward with the ball. The cost of a young centre back who's English and homegrown. I mean, Levi Colwell had a £60 million price tag apparently, and right now I'm not seeing a huge deal of difference between the two this season in terms of output. So for me, Kwanzaa is a £40-odd million player as it stands in this market. Conor Bradley, however, again, I couldn't ever say yes to any price tag, to be honest with you, so far, because he offers so much flexibility in what he can do for us as a team, allowing Trent to have the freedom of going into midfield, to have a player who's got the ability that he has, who's proven that he can get an assist, who's proven he can get a goal, who's got energy to burn. He can put a tackle in. He's not frightened. He's not scared. He's not meek, and he's only going to get better. So again, Conor Bradley, but he edges it very, very closely. Right, lads, just to wrap things up, coming towards the end of the game, your three standout players, we'll go with Willem. Who were the three big standouts for you, and then your man of the match? So it's 4 players, 3 standouts, and then your man of the match, please.
That actually makes it a lot easier for me. Thank you very much for that. But I'd say my 3 standouts are Gravenberch. I think Kelleher deserves it now as well. I can now give Kelleher the position because if it's now with one man of the match excluded, I don't have to take one out. And I think Luis Diaz. I thought Luis Diaz today was really good. We didn't actually talk about him at all, but I thought he was also really... He just didn't, apart from getting the assist, he couldn't really get his goal. He couldn't really get through, but I thought overall he had a really good game. Man of the match, got to be Mo. Coming back after, playing 55 minutes and already getting a goal and assisting and just closing the game off for us. Easy.
Carter, your 3 standouts and your man of the match for me, please.
I'd probably say standout. I'd say McAllister. I thought was really good. Sort of kept driving us, kept taking us over. I'd then say, I think Nunes. I think the first half. I think without him, I don't know if we go in at 1-0 up. Because I think he was constantly making runs. He wasn't always getting found, but he was definitely being very dangerous and giving us opportunities to play the ball. And then I would say, I'd say standout as well. Diaz. I thought Diaz was good today. And then as Willem said, I think Salah just came on and just you're like, oh, game over. Like with the spaces they were giving us, he just came on and was just his normal great self. So yeah, I'd have to go Salah.
No, I'm in complete agreement. To be totally honest with you, the whole team, to be totally honest with you, was fantastic. In all honesty, I don't think there was any performances out there that made me go, yeah, you're not doing it for me there, or you're having a bit of an off day. I thought we all started really, really well and were building into the game. I think Diogo Jota, before his injury, absolutely outstanding assist with that header. You know, he's up against it and gets it perfect. I think Diogo Jota would have been able to have influenced that game so much more, having once before the injury. But the header was fantastic. The finish by Nunes. Don't get me wrong, I didn't cheer until it hit the back of the net. I'll be totally honest with you. There's other players I probably would have been going, yeah, it's already in. But I was like, what is that going? Is it going into space or straight into the keeper's hands? But no, it was an absolutely outstanding finish. Nunes, fantastic. Gutted I couldn't watch him for the rest of that match. Hopefully nothing too serious. Talking apparently he apparently felt something, so we'll wait and see. Endo was fantastic. A man who somehow was capable of committing about 25 fouls that game, getting 1 yellow card, staying on the pitch. I thought there was an occasion coming up towards the very end on Onyeka that second yellow was coming, and he was a warrior out there, and we needed warriors up against that team. They were a tough team. They're a physical team, Brentford, and we needed someone like Endo. So Endo definitely gets a shout out there for me. I've mentioned Gravenberch. I thought he was fantastic. He took his opportunity to stake a claim into this midfield. We need him right now because of the injuries that we're facing. We need the Gravenberch who joined us. We need the first 5-6 games Gravenberch to come back for us, please. And he took that opportunity, and I'm dead pleased. And then, of course, I mean, the man of the match, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? Mo Salah out for what is a very rare injury, thankfully. Came under so much scrutiny and pressure because of the Egypt situation and whatnot. He comes back, gets himself into absolutely fine, fantastic physical condition, selfless and selfish at the right times when he needs to be. Scores a fantastic goal. The strength is unbelievable. Great finish. Absolutely influential, and he's exactly what we need right now going into this what you would say is the final run-in now. And other teams will be scared. I think other fan bases will be worried about what they're seeing. This is a statement win, 4-1 away from home, and all eyes at the Etihad this evening for me. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you all very, very much for being on the stream with me. I really, really appreciate it. Everyone who's been in the chat, everyone who's put the comments in, it's so important to us. It makes this so much easier for us. Anyone who's watching, please put a like on for us. It makes a big, big difference for us. We're at 10,000 subs. Let's keep going. Put our subscribers on. We'll have a show every single day. Match reactions, match previews, general chat about what's going on, and of course transfer news when we hear about it. So for everybody who's there watch, thank you very much for joining us, and we will catch you later on this evening for the 7:30 stream. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.